My stepdaughter demanded I bankroll her single mom journey and insulted me when I refused. My wife took her side, so I filed for divorce and kicked them both. Sup, Reddit. I'm Gabriel, 42 male, and I need some outside perspective on the nuclear bomb that just went off in my life. Everyone thinks I'm a jerk for how I handled this, but honestly, I think I did what needed to be done. Let me lay out the whole mess and I'll let you judge. I've been married to my wife Brianna, 44 female, for 4 years. She's got 2 kids from her first marriage. There's Kyle, who's 26 and actually has his life together. And then there's Megan. Megan, who is 22. Kyle graduated from a state school. Paid his own way through with scholarships and a part-time job. Kid's got a solid job now in Denver. Comes to visit maybe twice a year. Never ask for money. We get along great. Now, before I get those comments, here's the thing about why I married Brianna in the first place. I'm infertile. Found out when I was 28. Previous relationship when we were trying. It ended that relationship because she wanted kids and I couldn't give her that. It messed me up for a while. When I met her 6 years ago at a company softball game, she already had 2 kids. She was funny, independent, had her life together, and worked as a dental office manager. We clicked immediately, started dating, and I got to know Kyle and Megan. Back then, they were sweet kids. The fact that Brianna already had kids took the pressure off. I didn't have to have that awkward conversation about my infertility on the 3rd date. She wasn't looking to have more children. Her family was complete, and honestly, I fell in love with the whole package. Brianna was smart and made me laugh. Kyle was respectful and driven. Even Megan seemed like she'd grow out of her teenage nonsense eventually. We got married after 2 years of dating. I thought I'd found my family, you know? The family I couldn't have. I actually gave a dang about these kids. Went to Megan's high school graduation even though it was boring as heck. Helped Kyle move into his first apartment in Denver. Tried to be a positive presence without overstepping, because they had a dad already. Turns out I was wrong about at least 2 of those 3 things. Megan, though. Good grief. Where do I even start with this girl? After high school, she announced she was taking a gap year to find herself. That gap year turned into 4 of finding absolutely nothing except new ways to spend money she didn't have. She's worked maybe 3 jobs total in that time. Early on, Brianna and I were actually on the same page about Megan. When Megan quit her first job, Brianna told her she needed to find another one immediately. When she asked for money for concert tickets, Brianna said no. We'd have conversations about how Megan needed to learn responsibility. I thought we were a team on this. But then things started shifting. Subtle at first. When she needed a car, Brianna mentioned maybe helping her with a down payment. I said Megan should save up herself, and Brianna agreed. But then a week later, she dipped into her savings to buy Megan a used Honda. When I brought it up, she said it was her money, and Megan needed reliable transportation for work. Fair enough, I thought. Pick your battles. Girl wrecked that car 6 months later, texting while driving. And what Brianna did? She helped her file the insurance claim and gave her another $1,000 toward a new car. When I asked about using this as a teaching moment, she got defensive. She already feels bad enough. She doesn't need you piling on. I stayed out of it mostly because I was trying to be the cool stepdad. Brianna and I still had a good relationship overall. The house we live in is mine. Bought it 12 years ago. A 4-bedroom ranch, worth probably $600,000 now. Paid off the mortgage 3 years before I met Brianna. When we got married, I kept it in my name for tax and legal reasons. But we split bills 50-50. Then about a year ago, Megan started dating some guy she met at a concert. Real winner, this one. Tattoos up to his neck, worked at a vape shop, drove a Mustang with an obnoxious exhaust. His name was Tyler, but he went by T-Bone. I wish I was making that up. When Megan first brought him around, Brianna and I exchanged looks. After they left, we both laughed about the nickname. Brianna said, "Give it 3 months max." I said I'd take that bet. We were still on the same wavelength then. They lasted 8 months before he ghosted her. Just disappeared one day. Apparently moved back in with his parents in Tucson. Megan was devastated. Spent 2 weeks on our couch. At first, Brianna let me handle some of it. I'd tell Megan she needed to get up, go to work, and keep living her life. Brianna would back me up, tell Megan that wallowing wasn't helping. But by week 2, when I suggested maybe Megan should go back to her own apartment, Brianna started getting protective. She needs support right now. Heartbreak is real pain. You don't understand because you've never been a parent. That last comment stung, but I let it slide. I should have pushed back harder right then. My best friend Billy, who's been married twice and divorced twice, came over for drinks one night while Megan was in the middle of her breakup recovery phase. He took one look at the situation and pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Dude, you know this is never gonna end, right? That girl's gonna be living here when she's 40. I laughed it off then. 3 months after T-Bone vanished, Megan showed up on a Sunday afternoon with an announcement. Brianna and I were watching football. Megan walked in without knocking, stood in front of the TV, and dropped the bomb. I'm pregnant. Brianna's immediate reaction was shock. For a solid 10 seconds, nobody said anything. Then Brianna asked the obvious question. Does Tyler know? Megan shook her head, explained he'd ghosted her before she even knew she was pregnant. Said she'd tried to reach out but his number was disconnected. Dude had literally fled the state to avoid any responsibility. Megan sat down, and I could see she'd been crying before she got here. I'm keeping it. I know it's not ideal, but I'm keeping it. Brianna nodded slowly, got up and hugged her daughter. Okay, we'll figure this out. That's when I jumped in. What's your plan? For the baby. Financially. Megan looked at me like I'd asked her to solve a calculus problem. What do you mean? I mean, what's your plan? For housing? For medical bills? For baby supplies? Do you have savings? Brianna gave me a look that said, not now. I backed off. We talked for another hour. Brianna asked practical questions about due dates and doctors and insurance. Megan had some answers, not all of them. By the end of it, I could see Brianna shifting to full mom mode. After Megan left, Brianna and I sat in silence for a few minutes. That's not a great idea, I said. No, it's not, she sighed. But she's my daughter. She's going to need help. Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying she needs to step up too. Brianna nodded. We'll figure it out. Famous last words. For the next month, things were normal. Megan kept living in her apartment, some crappy one-bedroom she shared with a roommate in Tempe. She'd come over for dinner once or twice a week, and Brianna would cook her favorite meals and fuss over her. I mostly didn't bother, watched sports, and tried not to think about the impending disaster. Then, Megan's roommate decided to move out. She gave Megan 30 days notice. Megan did absolutely nothing about it. Just assumed something would work out. It didn't. One night, Brianna and I were making dinner together. She brought up Megan's housing situation casually, like she was testing the waters. So Megan's roommate is moving out at the end of the month. She finding someone new? I asked. She's trying, but it's hard. A lot of people don't want to live with a baby. Makes sense. Babies are loud. She was quiet for a minute. I've been thinking, what if she stayed here for a little while? Temporarily. I put down the spatula. How long is a little while? I don't know. A month or two? Just to give her time to figure things out properly, instead of rushing into a bad roommate situation? I thought about it. A month or two wasn't forever. And Brianna was asking, not telling. Can we set some ground rules if we do this? Her face lit up. Of course. Absolutely. Whatever you want. She pays something toward utilities, even if it's just $50 a month. She helps around the house. And we set a firm end date. 8 weeks max. That's fair. Brianna came over and hugged me. Thank you. This means a lot. I'm doing this for you, I said. Not for her. I know, and I appreciate it. We had dinner. Everything seemed fine. I thought we'd handled it like adults. Compromise, communication, clear boundaries. Then the end of the month came and Megan moved in. Day 1 was fine. She was polite, said thank you, stayed in her room mostly. Day 2 was fine. Day 3, she started leaving dishes in the sink. Day 4, she was camped on the couch all afternoon. By day 7, the boundaries were already crumbling. I mentioned it to Brianna. Hey, Megan left dishes in the sink again. Can you remind her about cleaning up after herself? She's tired. She's pregnant. She's also an adult who agreed to help around the house. I'll talk to her. But she didn't. Or if she did, it didn't stick. The dishes kept piling up. Megan's stuff started spreading from the guest room to the living room to the bathroom. She was taking over the house bit by bit, and my wife wasn't saying anything. Week 3, I brought up the 8-week deadline. So we're halfway through. She making any progress on finding a new place? Brianna was scrolling through her phone. She's looking. Has she actually applied anywhere? I don't know. Probably. Why are you being so pushy about this? We agreed on 8 weeks. I'm just making sure we're on track. She put her phone down. She's 5 months pregnant. Do you really want to put that pressure on her right now? The pressure of following through on what we agreed to? Yeah, kind of. You know what? I think 8 weeks was unrealistic anyway. It takes longer than that to find a good place, especially for someone in her situation. So, what are you saying? I'm saying maybe we should be more flexible. And there it was. The conversation we'd had 4 weeks ago suddenly didn't matter anymore. We had an agreement, I said. Plans change. Not without talking about it first. I'm talking about it now. No, you're telling me about it. There's a difference. We argued for another 20 minutes. She kept saying I was being inflexible and unsympathetic. I kept saying she was changing the rules without discussing it. We went to bed angry, sleeping on opposite sides. That's when I started to realize the war had just started. Week 6 came and went. Megan was still in my guest room, still not paying utilities, still not helping around the house beyond the bare minimum. The 8-week deadline was 2 weeks away, and she hadn't applied to a single apartment. I knew this because I'd asked her directly one morning when Brianna was at work. Megan was on the couch watching some reality show. Hey, Megan, how's the apartment search going? It's going. Have you applied anywhere? She turned to look at me, annoyed. Why are you interrogating me? I'm asking a simple question. We agreed you'd be here for 8 weeks. That's in 2 weeks. Yeah, well, plans change. I discussed it with my mom. Your mom and I are married. Decisions about this house get made by both of us. She rolled her eyes and went back to her show. I took a breath, tried to stay calm. Megan, I need you to take this seriously. You need to be actively looking for a place. I am looking. God, you're so pushy about this. Because you're about to have a baby and you're living in someone else's house with no plan. She put her cereal bowl down hard on the coffee table. You know what your problem is? You don't get it because you're not a real parent. You don't understand what it's like. You're right, I'm not your parent. But I am the homeowner, and you're a guest who's overstaying here. Whatever. Mom said I could stay as long as I need. Did she? Yeah, she did. I walked away before I said something I'd regret. Went to my office, texted Brianna that we needed to talk tonight. She said she was busy. I said it couldn't wait. That night, she got home late, almost 7 p.m. Megan had ordered delivery pizza on my credit card without asking. I'd found the receipt on the counter. When I brought it up, Megan said she thought it was fine since she was staying there. Brianna walked in right as I was explaining that no, it wasn't fine to use someone's credit card without permission. What's going on? Brianna asked, setting down her purse. Your daughter just used my card without asking, and when I tried talking to her about the apartment search this morning, she told me plans change and her mom said she could stay as long as she needs. It's just pizza. It's not about the pizza. It's about basic respect. And it's about the fact that we're at week 6, the deadline is in 2 weeks, and she hasn't applied to a single apartment. Megan jumped in. See? This is what I've been dealing with. He's constantly on my case about everything. Because you're not following any of the rules we set. And you're not even trying to find your own place? Brianna held up her hands. Can we not do this right now? I've had a long day. No, we need to do this right now. We agreed on 8 weeks. I know what we agreed on, but the situation's changed. She's further along in her pregnancy. It's harder for her to move. The apartment market is tough right now. None of that is new information. We knew all of this 6 weeks ago. Megan stood up. You know what? Screw this. Screw you. I'm pregnant and stressed and I don't need this. Just like that. Casually. I looked at Brianna, waiting for her to say something, to tell her daughter you don't talk to people like that in their home. But she just stood there. Did you hear what she just said to me? She's upset. She's hormonal. So that makes it okay. Oh my God, Gabriel. Stop switching my words. I'm just saying let's just give her some space. Megan stormed off to the guest room. Door slam. The walls rattled. I stood there looking at my wife, this woman I'd married 4 years ago, and she just looked exhausted. We can't keep doing this, I said quietly. I know. So what's the plan? I need to think. She went to take a shower. I sat on the couch where Megan had been, looked at the mess of dishes and wrappers, and realized I'd lost control of my own home. The next few days were tense as heck. Megan avoided me. Brianna worked late a lot, or said she was working late. I started spending more time at the gym, more time in my office, more time anywhere that wasn't dealing with this disaster. One Saturday, about 3 weeks past the original deadline, I was in the garage organizing tools when Kyle showed up. He flew in from Denver this morning, which was weird because he usually called first. Hey man, heard Megan's still here. Yep, week 11 and counting. Mom said you guys are having problems about it. That's one way to put it. He sighed, looked uncomfortable. Look, I get both sides. Megan needs help, but you also deserve to have a say in your own house. Your mom doesn't see it that way anymore. She's in full protection mode. It's what she does. He grabbed a wrench, fiddled with it. Megan won't learn, though. She'll take as much as mom gives. You think I don't know that? I'm just saying if mom won't set boundaries, then you have to. And yeah, you'll be the bad guy. But you're the guy with the spine. He put the wrench back. For what it's worth, I think you're being reasonable. 8 weeks was fair. We went inside and Megan was at the kitchen table on her phone. She looked up when she saw Kyle. Oh good, maybe you can back me up here. Gabriel had been on my case nonstop. Kyle grabbed water from the fridge. About what? About finding my own place. Like I'm not stressed enough already. Have you been looking? Her face changed. I've been looking, okay? It's not that easy. Megan, Kyle said, you've been here for 11 weeks. So? Mom said I could stay. Mom doesn't own this house. Oh my God, not this again. You know what? I can't deal with this right now. I'm going to my room. She left. Kyle looked at me. She hasn't applied anywhere. Nope. And Mom's enabling it. Yep. Brianna came home from grocery shopping right then, saw Kyle and me in the kitchen, immediately tensed up. What happened? Why is Megan upset? She's fine, Kyle said. We were just talking about her apartment search. She's doing her best. Is she? Brianna set the grocery bags down hard. I can't believe you're taking his side over your sister's. She just got dumped by her boyfriend, and she's about to have a baby. She needs support, not judgment. She needs both, support and accountability. Brianna's face went hard. If you came here to criticize how I parent my daughter, you can leave. Kyle grabbed his keys. You know what? Yeah, I'll leave. Flew in to visit, and I'm not spending it watching this train wreck. Keep babying your golden daughter. After he left, Brianna turned to me. Happy now? You turned my son against me. He came to his own conclusions. Maybe you should listen to him. I'm done listening to everyone tell me how to handle my daughter. She stays until she's ready to go. She started putting away groceries, slamming cabinet doors. I stood there watching her, this person I used to know, wondering when she'd become someone else entirely. That night, I slept in my office again. 2 days later, things escalated. I came home from work and found Brianna and Megan at the kitchen table, with papers spread out. Megan's laptop was open with apartment listings on the screen. What's all this? I asked. We're apartment hunting. Actually doing it this time. I felt a tiny bit of relief. Okay, good, finally. But, Megan said, everything in a safe neighborhood is expensive, like $1,400 a month, plus utilities. So get roommates. Who's going to want to live with a baby? Plenty of people. Single moms room together all the time. Brianna cut in. Or we could help her with rent for the first few months, just to get her established. I stared at her. How much are we talking? Maybe half? So $700 a month for 3 or 4 months? I did the math. $3,000 minimum. And after those few months, she'll hopefully be in a better position financially. Based on what? She's working 15 hours a week at a retail store. Megan's face went red. I'm trying, okay? It's not easy being pregnant and working. Then get on assistance. Apply for WIC, food stamps, housing vouchers. There are programs for exactly this situation. I'm not going on welfare, Megan said, like I'd suggested she rob a bank. Why not? You literally qualify. You're unemployed, pregnant, no support from the father. That's what those programs are for. It's embarrassing. More embarrassing than mooching off your mom and stepdad? I'm not mooching, Mom offered. I looked at Brianna. Can we talk? Megan got up. Whatever. I'll be in my room. After she left, Brianna and I stood in the kitchen. You offered to pay her rent? I asked. I said we'd help. Not pay all of it. Without asking me first. You're presenting it like it's already decided. What do you want me to do? Watch my daughter struggle? I want you to let her handle her own problems instead of constantly bailing her out. She got herself into this situation. She needs to get herself out. She's my daughter, and I'm your husband. Brianna looked at me for a long moment. Right now, I need to focus on Megan. Right now? What about tomorrow? Next month? When does it end? When she doesn't need me anymore. So never. We stood there in silence. I could feel the marriage cracking. Maybe you should stay somewhere else tonight, Brianna said quietly. Silence. Excuse me? Just for tonight, so we can cool off. Megan doesn't need the stress. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Megan doesn't need stress. What about me? Please. Just one night. I grabbed my wallet and keys. You got it. Ended up at a Holiday Inn Express off the interstate. Sat in a room that smelled like industrial cleaner, watching SportsCenter, wondering how the heck my marriage had gotten here. The next morning, I came back to grab some work clothes. The house was quiet. Brianna was getting ready for work, doing her makeup in the bathroom. She asked if I'd thought about what she said. I asked which part. She said the part about helping Megan with rent. I thought about it. The answer's no. She paused. No? Just like that? Yup, just like that. She turned to face me. I can't believe you're being this stubborn about helping her. I can't believe you're being this blind about enabling her. There's a difference between helping and enabling, and you crossed that line about 6 months ago. I don't have time for this. I'm late for work. Sure. I grabbed my clothes and left. Went to work, had my sales meetings, pretended everything was fine. That night, I stayed at Billy's place. He and his girlfriend had a spare room and said I could crash there as long as I needed. We sat on his back patio having drinks while his girlfriend made dinner. Billy asked how bad it had gotten. I gave him the rundown. He listened, shook his head. Tried to warn you, man. I know. What are you gonna do? I don't know yet. His girlfriend came out and joined us, said she'd been talking to Brianna's coworker at the dental office. Apparently, Brianna had been telling people I was being unreasonable about Megan staying with us, making me out to be the bad guy. She asked if I wanted her to set the record straight. No, let people think what they want. I'm too tired to care about managing my reputation at Brianna's workplace. Billy said I should start thinking about my exit strategy, that from where he was sitting, this marriage was already over. I just hadn't accepted it yet. We just need to work through this. He gave me this look, this sad knowing look that told me he'd been exactly where I was before. That's what I told myself during both my divorces, right up until the moment I signed the papers. I slept on their spare bed that night, staring at the ceiling. 4 years of marriage. 4 years of trying to build a family. And it was all crumbling because my wife couldn't set boundaries with her daughter. So I made my decision. The next day, I went to see a divorce attorney. Didn't tell anyone. Just made the appointment, drove downtown, sat in a conference room, while a guy named Joe explained my options. He asked me to walk him through the whole situation. I did. He took notes. When I finished, he put down his pen. This is pretty straightforward from a legal standpoint. House is in your name, bought before the marriage. She's not entitled to any of that. You'll have to split marital assets, but the house stays yours. What about getting them out? That's trickier. Your wife lives there, and her adult daughter has been occupying a room. You can't just change the locks without a court order, but you can file for divorce and request temporary exclusive occupancy of the marital home, especially since you owned it before the marriage. A judge will likely grant it. How long does this take? In Arizona? With an uncontested divorce, about 4 months. If she fights it, could be 6 to 8 months. Let's do it. He had papers drawn up by the end of day Wednesday. I signed them Thursday morning. Brianna was served Thursday afternoon while she was at work. I wasn't there when it happened, but I got a text from her at 3:40 p.m. Gabriel, are you freaking serious right now? What the actual F? I didn't respond. I got home that evening and Brianna's car was already in the driveway. So was her mom, Carol's. Great. Reinforcements. Walked in to find both of them sitting at the kitchen table with the divorce papers spread out. Megan was on the couch, watching. Brianna held up the papers as soon as she saw me. What the heck is this? Pretty self-explanatory. It's a petition for divorce. Over this? You're divorcing me because I'm taking care of my pregnant daughter? No. I'm divorcing you because you made a unilateral decision to move someone into my house without my consent, and you've made it clear that my opinion doesn't matter in my own home. Carol jumped in. This is ridiculous. You're throwing away a marriage over a temporary situation. Temporary, I repeated. Right. Just like how Megan's gap year was temporary. Just like how her last crisis was temporary. Everything with Megan is temporary until it's permanent. She's family, Brianna said, and I could see tears starting. And I was your husband. You chose enabling her over respecting me. So here we are. Megan finally spoke up from the couch. This is all my fault. Yeah, I said. It kind of is. She started crying. Brianna went over to comfort her. Carol glared at me like I'd just drowned a kitten. She's pregnant, Carol hissed. Have you no compassion? I have plenty of compassion. What I don't have is patience for being treated like an ATM and a doormat in my own house. Ha, this is unbelievable, Brianna said. 4 years of marriage and you're just throwing it away. I'm just responding to you throwing it away when you moved Megan in without asking me. We argued for another hour. Same circles. Eventually, Carol left in a huff. Megan went to her room. Brianna sat at the kitchen table crying. I almost felt bad watching her breakdown, but then I remembered the past 3 months. Brianna looked up at me with mascara running down her face. This doesn't have to happen. We can fix this. How? Megan can move out. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. When? When does Megan move out? Today? Tomorrow? Or is this another eventually situation? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I went upstairs, grabbed some clothes, and packed a bag. Brianna followed me. Where are you going? Hotel. I'll be back for more of my stuff this weekend when you're not here. This is your house. I should be the one leaving. She said it then, but it was too late. Yeah, you should be, but we both know you won't do it now. So I'm making it easy on everyone. Don't do this. I already did. I stayed at a Marriott for 2 weeks. Extended stay. It was actually kind of peaceful. Came and went as I pleased, ate whatever I wanted, watched whatever I wanted. No guilt trips, no door slamming. Billy came by one night with Chinese takeout. We sat in my hotel room eating. Eventually, he asked how I was holding up. Honestly, better than expected. Then he warned me that Brianna would try to get me back soon as she realized I was serious. Don't fall for it. I fell for it with wife number one. Biggest mistake of my life. Delayed the inevitable by 3 years and cost me an extra $50,000. Noted. The following week, my attorney got a response from Brianna's attorney. She was contesting the divorce and wanted counseling. I told Joe to push forward anyway. Then Brianna started calling. First few times I let it go to voicemail. Messages were all the same. She was sorry. She understood now. Megan was going to move out. Could we please talk? I finally answered on the fifth call. What do you want, Brianna? I want to fix this. I want my husband back. Where's Megan? Long pause. She's still here. Cool, then nothing's changed. Please, can we just talk? In person? After some back and forth and tons of rant, I agreed to meet at a coffee shop near her work. When I got there, she looked rough. Part of me felt bad. The other part remembered why we were here. I made a mistake, she said after we ordered. I should have talked to you before moving Megan in. I should have respected your opinion. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay? That's it? What do you want me to say? You're apologizing now because I filed for divorce. Where was this respect when you told me to leave my own house? She stirred her coffee without drinking. Megan's looking at apartments. She applied for AHCCCS/Medicaid and WIC right away, and she's on a Section 8 waitlist. She's trying. Good for her. That's what she should have been doing from the start. So if she moves out, will you drop the divorce? I thought about it. Could I go back to that marriage? Could I trust Brianna to not pull something like this again? No, I said finally. Her eyes filled with tears. Why not? Because you showed me who you are. You showed me that when push comes to shove, I'm not your priority. Your daughter is. And look, I get it. She's your kid. But I'm your husband and you completely disregarded me. That's not something counseling can fix. People make mistakes. And people also face consequences for those mistakes. We sat in silence for a few minutes. She cried quietly. I drank my coffee. Eventually she left. I felt hollow driving back to the hotel. Not sad exactly. Not relieved either. Just empty. 2 months into the divorce process, my attorney filed for exclusive occupancy and the judge granted it, meaning Brianna and Megan had to leave until the divorce was finalized. They moved in with Carol across town. Living alone in my house again felt surreal, like waking up from a bad dream. I could walk around in my underwear, leave dishes overnight, and watch whatever I wanted. It was my space again. Kyle came to visit one weekend. We were grilling steaks in the backyard when he brought up Megan. She had the baby. Girl. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, named her Paisley. The state opened a paternity case and is trying to serve Tyler in Tucson for child support. That's a terrible name. Yeah, he flipped his steak. She's struggling. Physically, emotionally, financially. All of it. He paused. Mom's struggling too. Between taking care of Megan and the baby, plus working full-time, she's running on fumes. Grandma can't help much because of her arthritis. She made her bed. Oh, I know, I told her the same thing. She didn't want to hear it. We ate our steaks, had some drinks, and watched the sun go down. It was peaceful. 3 days later, I got a text from Brianna asking if we could meet. Said it was important, not about reconciliation, just about logistics. We met at the same coffee shop. She looked even more tired than last time. I need to talk to you about money. Here we go. The divorce settlement splits our marital assets 50-50, right? Yeah. When does that happen? When do I get my share? When the divorce is finalized. Another 2 months, probably. Her face fell. I need it sooner. Can't help you there. That's how the legal process works. I'm drowning. Megan's not working. Her OB pulled her off shifts late in the 3rd trimester, then postpartum recovery and therapy kept her home for a while. Carol's house is small and we're all on top of each other. I can't afford daycare on my salary, so I'm taking unpaid leave from work to help with the baby. We need money. Get a loan against your share of the assets. I tried. Got denied because my credit's not great. That was new information. Since when is your credit bad? I may have put some things on credit cards. Helping Megan. Baby stuff. Medical bills. About $15,000. I actually whistled. Good grief, Brianna. I know it was stupid, but I was trying to help my daughter. By destroying your own financial stability. Smart. Can you just loan me some money? I'll pay you back from my divorce settlement. No. She started crying. Again. I don't know what else to do. We're barely making it. I'm out of options. Figure it out, I said. Then I left her there crying into her coffee. Billy called that night. No argument here. Just making sure you're okay. I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. And I was. I had my house back. I was getting my life back. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. The judge split the marital assets 50-50. Brianna got about $75,000 from bank accounts and retirement funds I'd contributed to during our marriage. I kept the house, my car, my retirement accounts from before we met. Clean break. Brianna tried calling a few more times after that night. I never answered. Let it all go to voicemail. Eventually, the calls stopped coming. Kyle kept me updated even though I didn't ask him to. Megan was still living with Brianna at Carol's place. The baby was healthy, but Megan was struggling with postpartum depression. She'd started therapy, was on medication, was actually trying to get her life together. Too little too late for my situation, but good for her, I guess. Brianna had gone back to work full-time. Carol was watching the baby during the day, but her health was declining, and she couldn't keep it up much longer. They were looking into daycare, but it was expensive, and Megan still wasn't working. Kyle described it as a complete mess over there. Chaos. Mom stressed, Megan depressed, grandma exhausted, baby crying constantly. You don't feel bad at all? Kyle asked one night over drinks. Should I? I mean, they're struggling. They're struggling because of choices they made. I didn't make Megan get pregnant by a guy named T-Bone. I didn't make Brianna move her in without asking me. Never made any of these choices. Kyle nodded slowly. Fair enough. For what it's worth, I think you made the right call. Marriage should be a partnership. Mom treated you like your opinion didn't matter. That's not right. Thanks, kid. 6 months after the divorce, I was doing great. Started dating Rachel, a woman I met at the gym. Nothing serious but fun. She had her own place, her own life. Exactly what I needed. Traveled to Colorado for a ski trip. Bought a new truck. A Ford F-150 I'd had my eye on. Started going to a men's group at the gym. A bunch of guys who'd meet Saturday mornings to lift and talk about life. It helped. Then I got a LinkedIn message from Brianna one afternoon while I was at work. I almost didn't open it. Figured it was more of the same, but I was curious. She said she knew we weren't together anymore, but wanted me to know she finally understood what I'd been saying. Megan had moved out last month, got her own apartment, got a job, was trying to do things on her own. Said it took hitting rock bottom, but Megan was finally growing up. Then she said she wished she'd listened to me earlier, that maybe we'd still be married. Ended it hoping I was doing well. I read it sitting at my desk, coffee getting cold. Thought about responding. But what was there to say? I closed LinkedIn and went back to work. Had a sales call in 10 minutes. Sometimes late at night when I can't sleep, I wonder what would have happened if I'd just gone along with it. If I'd kept my mouth shut, played the role of supportive stepdad. Maybe Brianna and I would still be married. But probably not. Probably I'd be even more miserable. I'd be lying next to someone who made me feel invisible. No, I made the right call. Set a boundary and stuck to it even when everyone said I was heartless. Was it extreme? Maybe. But it was definitely necessary. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got a flight to Belize to catch. Rachel and I are spending a week at some resort on the beach. Living my best life without drama. Freedom feels pretty darn good. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.